I love pie. I don't know about you, but I find pie to be super scrumptious. Now I'm partial to blackberry, but I have a lot of favorites when it comes to pie. When I think about music, I think about pie. Not just because I love both pie and music, but because thinking of a pie helps me to remember a fundamental musical principle. Let's talk about that a little bit more in today's weekly worship thought. There are many ways to slice up a pie, but each slice is just as good and important as the rest. Now, if I had a pie and I wanted to share it with you, I would have to slice it into at least 2 pieces. The nice thing would be for me to slice it into 2 identically sized pieces, but if it's a blackberry pie, my slice may end up being a little bit bigger than yours. Now, if I had a pie and I wanted to keep the whole thing for myself, then you wouldn't get any pie. And if I had a pie and I wanted to share it with, let's say, 7 other people, I would have to slice it into 8 different pieces. Again, it would be ideal for the 8 pieces to be of the same size, but that doesn't always happen. Either way, there is only one pie, and the number of slices depends on how many people will get a slice of the pie. Now, this is how we should think about music as well. A good song is like a good pie. Each slice represents a different piece of the song's instrumentation. If the instrumentation consists of just me playing the guitar and singing along, then I get the whole pie. I can strum however I want. I can sing my heart out. I get the whole pie. If, however, we add another person, let's say a keyboard player, then it changes the way I need to slice up the pie. I can no longer play as if I get the whole thing. I need to play less on the guitar to make room for the keyboard, who is also leaving room for me. Remember, there's only one pie. And we need to slice it up so that everyone gets a piece. Now, my piece may be slightly bigger than the keyboard player's piece, but that just means I get to play a little bit more while they have to play a little bit less. A common mistake that I see so many worship teams making is that the musicians and singers are performing as if they all get the whole pie. But it doesn't work that way. That's not music, that's just noise. If you have a 4-piece band, let's say acoustic guitar, bass guitar, drums, and electric guitar, then each musician should play as if they represent 1/4 of the song. When you add the lead vocals and the background vocalist, each musician's slice gets a little smaller still. Now, as you continue to add musicians and vocalists, the slices need to keep getting smaller and smaller because there's only one pie. Admittedly, the lead vocalist and the lead instrument in a given song may get a little bigger slice than the others, but each part is just as good and important as the rest. Worship leader, musician, singer, think about your typical congregational worship scenario. How many people are a part of the instrumentation? How many slices need to be carved out of the musical pie? How big should your slice be? Are you trying to do too much, taking for yourself a bigger slice than you ought? Are you doing too little and just taking a tiny slice when you should really be doing more? If you can think about music as being like a pie and figure out how to divvy up the right size slices for you and your fellow worship team members, you will be well on your way to making great music. And while you're at it, why not go ahead and reward yourself with a sweet, succulent slice of blackberry pie? Okay, so we have covered the general concept here, and obviously music is not a one-size-fits-all type of thing, so you will have to use your own wisdom, judgment, and experience to create music that is musical to you while not just being a huge mess to everyone else. In the book, I mentioned the example of a solo acoustic guitar player and how they should adjust their playing style based on the instrumentation around them or on how many slices need to come from the one pie. Well, let's look at that a little bit more. For the acoustic guitarist, if you have the whole pie, you may just play whatever your heart desires. Throw the bass notes in there, strum your heart out, whatever. It might sound something like this. Okay, so I might be going all over the place doing whatever needs to happen. However, if a bass player is added to the band, you probably want to lay off the emphasizing of the bass in your acoustic guitar playing. So now the playing might go something like this. Makes sense? So I got rid of them. Got rid of the bass notes, right? Because now we've got to share that pie. But now let's say that a drummer was added to the band, and at this point, you no longer want to strum your heart out because you will likely begin to flam or strike the strings at a slightly different time from the hi-hat, and this will make the music feel awkward and confusing, like two people are fighting over the same slice of pie. So at that point, you would want to simplify your strumming a little bit and really try to lock into the rhythm of the hi-hat. Something maybe like this. Let's get the hi-hat going. Makes sense? So I'm trying to really match that hi-hat, and you can even simplify it a little bit further still, get that hi-hat going again. So all down strums would be an option there. But again, when you're playing by yourself, you can take the whole pie. But when you're playing with others, you really want to own your slice and share the pie with the rest. Now, we could definitely keep going and talk through what happens when you add an electric guitar or keyboard or whatever, but I think you get the overall concept by now. In the next several videos, we're going to be looking much deeper at individual instruments and how they can best own their slice of the worship music pie. The temptation may be to only pay attention to your own instrument, or if you are strictly a vocalist, to pay attention to none of the instruments. Please don't do that. I want to encourage you to really pay attention to each of the different pieces that make up the worship music pie. The more you understand about what others are doing, or at least intending to do, the better you can serve in your own unique role on the worship team. So hang in there, take good notes, learn about the different unique ways that each individual instrument contributes to the whole, and then start applying these ideas and tips to your own worship team context. And then enjoy the sweet, sweet sound of a well-baked worship music pie. I'm seriously gonna go and eat some pie now. In your own words, how would you explain the worship music pie concept? Is there anything about the worship music pie concept that seems overly complicated or overly simplified to you? If so, please explain. In your typical worship team context, how many different ways does the worship pie need to be sliced? How or in what ways do you currently adjust your contribution to the worship team depending on how many people are in the band? For the next several chapters, we will be focusing on individual instruments and how they contribute to the whole. What part of focusing on individual instruments most excites you? What part are you most apprehensive about?